I'm gonna do a video that is all for sacral beings. So this is a questions-based video. I'm gonna be asking questions. We're gonna see what you have a response for. But if you've already seen the other video, 95 questions for sacral beings, this is going to be very different. In particular, it's not going to be rapid fire. I'm going to take a lot more time going through questions. Part of why I did the last one rapid fire was for the awareness of whoa, 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 whoa. Like it was like ask, 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 ask. I wanted it to feel a certain kind of way, but I also recognized that I was trying to maintain getting your attention. It was one of my newer to YouTube videos, and I thought things had to be a lot busier, honestly, in order for people to be interested in it. I don't think that's the case. In fact, I think there's going to be a lot more value in asking questions where there's a pause afterwards, where you're able to process. One of the most important aspects of this is people with emotional definition, they don't have answers right away. They need time to sit with things. In fact, a lot of people with emotional definition will come back to the questions they're being asked. So my goal with this one is to ask slightly different questions in a different framework with different pauses and a variety of different ways to ask the question. I'm going to stay within the topic of relationships, love, intimacy. I do not have a prepared list of questions. This isn't me reading anything out. Like, it's going to be whatever comes to me in the moment. But I know that if I stay within a set topic, it gives me, you know, a loose framework for my strategic mind to figure out what I'm curious about. And I want to play with this. I'm going to take like a question, but ask it a variety of different ways so that you can feel how different your answers are. If I started with, have you ever been in love? I don't know, have you? But I can take that same question and I can approach it a little bit differently. Are you in love? If you're not in love, do you want to be? Do you want to be in love? What does love feel like for you? Have you ever lost somebody that you loved? Do you feel like there's a clear difference between love for children or your kids, and love for your parents, or love for an intimate partner, or love for a friend? Do these feel like different kinds of love to you? Are you currently in a relationship with someone that you feel like you're in love with? Do you think that there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone? Do you see yourself as lovable? I really hope the answer to that one was yes. Do you feel worthy of love? Do you feel deserving of love? Do you feel like you deserve love from someone who isn't giving it to you? Are you in love with someone who doesn't know that you're in love with them? Do you think love takes a lot of work? Do you think love can exist without compromise? Do you know how to love unconditionally? Is there anyone that loves you unconditionally? Do you feel like love is a bargain? Do you feel like love is painful? Do you think love lasts? What makes love last? Do you tell anyone that you love them? And does anyone tell you that they love you? Do you feel loved? Does love have a physical component for you? Is love enough to keep your relationship together, or relationships, or a relationship? What else do you need besides love to feel satisfied in your relationships? Is love something that can satisfy you? Do you think love is frustrating? Is there anyone that when they touch you, you feel loved? Or is there anyone where when they speak to you, you feel loved? Or is there anyone where when they share with you, you feel loved? You just hit on 3 different types of circuitry there. If you met you, what parts of you would you love? Do you believe in a specific kind of love? Like, are you looking for a soulmate kind of love, or a multi-person kind of love? Is it a one-night stand kind of love? Is it a companionship or brotherhood sister kind of love? Brotherhood, sisterhood. When was the most loved you ever felt in your whole life? And who was the source of that? Do you think there's any kind of barrier that prevents you from having, getting, or experiencing the kind of love that you think would satisfy you? Have you ever done anything extreme or wild or crazy in the name of love? Who was the last person that you told that you love them? Have you ever taken the quiz to determine what your love language is, and which ones did you feel like were really relevant to you? And does that make sense with anything else you know about your human design? What are the kinds of things that have made you fall out of love? Has there ever been a time where you gave up on love? What are the ways you like to express your love? What are some of the ways that you like people to express their love back to you? Do you get touched enough by people who love you? Do you have negative experiences of how you've been touched by people who claim that they love you? Are you afraid of love? Do you think people use love to manipulate? Have you ever felt like someone has used your love for them to manipulate you? How do you want to be touched by someone who loves you? What words do you want to hear from someone who loves you? What experiences do you want to share with someone who loves you? What's the cheesiest thing you've ever done because you were in love? Do you find it hard to say love without smiling? Because I do. I'm noticing that the more that I say love throughout this whole thing, I'm like, it feels good. It feels really good. Have you been in a kind of love that you thought was unsustainable? Have you given up on someone you love? Do you regret ending or leaving any relationships where you were in love? Do you think there's any part about you that needs to change in order to acquire love? If you had the perfect love, what in your life would change? What would get better? What would be there that wasn't there before? Are you single? Are you dating? Are you courting? Are you engaged? Are you married? Would you like to get married? Are you considering divorcing? Would you like to separate? Would you like to look for a different love than the one you currently have? Have you ever cheated? Have you ever been cheated on? Have you ever cheated on someone that you told you loved them? And vice versa. Have you ever been cheated on by someone who told you that they loved you? Is it true that love is a choice? Is it true that love takes work? Can you ever do anything that makes you unworthy of love? Can you do things that make you more worthy of love? Do you think that you've experienced the highest form of love, or the biggest love, or have you reached your pinnacle in terms of what love could feel like for you? Do you want more love? Do you want more love from any person in particular? Do they know that you want more love from them? Are you going to tell them? All right, if you made it this far into the video, we're gonna end on some sex questions. Have you ever wondered why they call it making love? Do you think that's an accurate description of what's going on? What is it about sex that feels like love? Have you had sex with anyone that you're not in love with at all? And have you had sex with someone or multiple people that you are very in love with? What's the difference? Should you be in love before you have sex with someone? Can sex be completely separate from love? Are you currently having sex with someone you love? Do you want to be having sex with someone you love? Are you having enough sex with the person you love? Do you want to be having more sex with the person you love? Do they know about it? Do they know that you want more sex? Are you going to tell them? Are you expected to have sex with someone you love? Are you in a relationship with someone you love, but you don't want to be having sex with them? Do your partners ever think that if you aren't having sex with them, then you must not love them? Do your partners confuse sex with love? Do you think that you need to be having sex with your partners in order to be loved by them? Do you like expressing your love through sex? Are you having enough sex? Do you like sex? Do you want to be having a different kind of sex? How do you feel after you have sex? How do you feel after someone tells you they love you? Which one feels better? Do you get more self-worth from knowing that somebody wants to have sex with you? Or do you get more self-worth from somebody telling you that they love you? That's interesting, because that even leads me to an awareness or a question. People do a lot of things to try and be attractive. Attractive is like a beacon of like, hey, want to have sex with me? Do you find me hot enough to want to have sex with? Being attractive is sexual advertising, especially when we think about what is considered standard-wise, typically, whatever the word is here. Typically, women's attractiveness is associated with youth and fertility, whereas a man's attractiveness is more associated with their ability to like protect and provide. Which tells me that so much of the attraction is based on genetic imperative. And you need sex for genetic imperative until technology gets better. Which means that we are advertising genetic imperative and basing our self-worth off of whether or not people want that from us. But how do we advertise that we are loving or good at love? How do I present myself in a way that says, I can love, I'm a good lover, and again, I don't mean sexually, I mean like, oh man, I actually really love that phrase if you remove the sex. Like, I'm a good lover, but not, well, not that I'm not a good, oh my goodness, I'm getting tongue-tied. But yeah, that last bigger question, like what makes you feel better, knowing that someone wants to be intimate with you or that somebody wants to be in love with you? But how do we advertise in a way that says, I'm someone you'd want to be in love with? I'm going to think about that for a little bit. This seems like a good place to pause. Curious to know what kind of responses you had. I definitely hope to see some of these in the comment section.